everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of the DomJake podcast. If this is your first time listening, I am your host, Dominic, and joining me is my co-host, Jake.
How's it going? Cue applause. What are we doing here? Why did you summon me?
Well, the reason why I summoned you is because we're summoning a topic, or we're summoning something that we've covered last year. Well, there is this website that has these stories, and that website is called Reddit.
DeviantArt. Oh.
Not DeviantArt. It is Reddit.
Wattpad. Oh.
You...
Archive
Nice
of our own.
Nice guesses, buddy, but no.
I wasn't sure in this case.
Nope, but last year we covered a subcategory called Am I the Asshole? But
I don't know, you sure look like one.
Well, Donkey from Shrek looks like an ass, but that's not why we're here. This time we're covering something a little different.
Can you tell we're recording this at like freaking 8 p.m.? We're high off our horses, man.
Not we
literally.
sure. No, we're not. We do not condone such behaviors.
Oh, I do. But I'm just sober. I've never had it, but I condone it.
Okay, well, to all the kiddos out there, do not listen to him. We are gonna be looking at some travel revenge stories.
Travel revenge stories? Why couldn't we just do, I don't know, regular travel?
Well, we always hear travel stories all the time. It's just nothing but peanuts and green on leaves.
So why didn't we do the original travel idea?
To make it long story short, we could not find stories that are really substantial to the idea.
Poopy.
Yeah, that's really one of the best ways to put it.
Yeah, the gist of it was honestly I was spending 2 hours like looking at various different subreddits. We were originally going to do something where we were going on the subreddit for a specific city that we want people to maybe look into, but finding out that none of them had like travel stories or like ways to compare and contrast. More if anything, it's just more like, oh, did you hear about the new Lowe's opening up? It's like mundane stuff where it's like, oh, so you guys have Lowe's too. Great.
Yeah.
Nothing substantial, so that's why we were trying to juice it up with a little bit of revenge sprinkled in there, which was kind of hard to find some, but...
I mean, while this wasn't the easiest thing to find, we managed to find 2 stories. I guess, without further ado, I'm just gonna dive into my first story that I found.
Ah, you want to go first? Okay. Host goes there. That's fine.
Okay, so what I got here is a story that's titled, Got a Rude Traveling Companion Lost in a Strange City. And
okay.
This poster is named Daromir. Okay.
Let's get into it.
Alright, I'm just gonna start off here. People commented that my previous post didn't have enough petty revenge in it, so I'm posting this to make up for it.
What's the previous post?
I guess the same person was talking about traveling, but the commenters were like, oh, there's not enough petty revenge. So this is the guy being like, okay, fine, I'm posting this to make up for it.
So is this another story, or is this a continuation?
I guess this is a continuation, but I did not
on
see
a thing
that.
We didn't see the first one of.
But
okay, we're starting with Infinity War. We're not even gonna go.
Alright, so, okay, I traveled to Hong Kong with my fiance and a few friends. One of our companions was a Class A jerk the whole trip. He complained about everything and took much of his frustration out on his girlfriend, who was a good friend of mine. I tried to play peacemaker a couple of times and he told me to mind my own business. So, someone ain't too happy.
Okay.
Our first night in Kowloon? Sure.
You should have done some research on pronunciation.
Hey, but that's what makes this funny, though.
The fact of the matter is, though, if you maybe gave me the letters, I would probably be able to get you there.
Anyways.
It's probably funnier without.
Yeah, our first night.
So where were we there?
Yep, there was the first night in Kowloon. We all decided to split up and sightsee as couples and meet for a group dinner at a local chain restaurant. It's an oxymoron kind of thing. But when we met up, my friend was alone because the boyfriend had decided to linger in the market and shop for cameras. Nobody was eating yet because my friend wanted to wait for her boyfriend before starting the meal. I stepped out to smoke while we waited.
Okay.
I was out there for about 5 minutes, and when I saw the boyfriend run up the street and head into the wrong restaurant, he didn't know the language and probably got the names confused. He was maybe 20 feet away. I could have waved at him and called him over, but instead I kept smoking and waited to see if he noticed me standing there. He didn't.
That's kind of... I'll get to this when we talk about it.
He got frustrated, tried to text, and then ran back up the street where he came from. I finished smoking and went inside. They asked me if I saw the boyfriend, and I said no. They asked me if I saw the boyfriend, and I said no. Eventually, my fiance convinced my friend to start the meal and leave some food for the boyfriend, who arrived drenched in sweat an hour later. It turned out that he'd visited every single branch of the chain restaurant in the area, 4 places, until someone finally pointed him back to where we were. Of course, he tried to blame it on my friend and her directions, but the others wouldn't let him. They had a royal argument that night, and the boyfriend wasn't with us when we went sightseeing the next day. Grounded? It's in parentheses. They broke up a year later. I guess it's like, okay, well, we're just gonna leave you here, buddy. That's that. That's it. That's the story. Well, before we do get to the comments, I'm just gonna share my thoughts, and Jake will share his thoughts.
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, as you all know, I guess is like a double date vacation sort of thing. And
sort of a friends gathering, I'd say.
And it sounds like he was a bit of a spoiled child. And
seems it.
Okay, this guy couldn't figure out where he was going. It just was nothing but a shit show. So I guess at the end of the day, they just decided, okay, fine. You're just gonna stay here. You're just not gonna be with us when we go sightseeing.
I mean, go ahead.
If they wanted to leave him there, I would not blame them, as long as he's got the money to come back.
Obviously, like right now, we are just reading revenge stories. We're not trying to deduce if anybody in this one or anybody in your next one or any of mine are, rude or, let's just say it, assholes or not, right? We're just here outside looking in. We could definitely have the opinions of are they the asshole or not, but
this is not that though.
But this isn't going to be us like trying to do that. But I will say that the poster was kind of, I would say, yes, there's justification for the, during the smoke break not saying, hey, come over here, because of the way that, the friends are being treated, right? Obviously the relationship wasn't going to last because they broke up a year after that, when seemingly it wasn't anything to do with this Daromir, right?
Yep.
So obviously they weren't seen when they were on the smoke break, but they saw the boyfriend, right? So we're at a point where it's like you could have helped, but you didn't. You could have assisted, spent a little bit of pride swallowing, just saying, hey. But at the end of the day, at least some of the locals, turned him around and be like, that's probably where you want to go.
Like, I mean, I guess he could have just walked over and say, "Hey, I'm right here," but he wanted to, I guess, test to see if he would notice.
Well, that's the reason. That's the whole reason why the subreddit exists. It's petty revengers being petty because
Yeah, I know.
because seeing the situation, from an outside perspective. Well, technically not really outside, because like friends you kind of consider under that same umbrella, but kind of on the outside as well, right?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like a throuple situation, right? So that's kind of what I mean by you were on the outside looking in on it, but it's one of those things where it's like, does the dude deserve some repercussions? Yes, for treating somebody badly, right?
Then yeah, I think so.
So like an hour being outside in a sweaty Kowloon,
Sure.
it's probably closer to like Kowloon or something. Right? Different phonetic pronunciations, which you won't get out of the two of us, right? But
it's still crazy though. It took them like another year later for them to break up instead of just that moment.
Well, I mean, because after the whole hour-long excursion in the sun, he blames her for his shortcomings, when technically they probably got the right instructions. It was just, can't read the language, so you're gonna blame somebody else for that type of thing. That's pretty petty though. That's
okay.
But I would say it is like, for the situation, that was deserved, right? It wasn't, you didn't go too far for something, but I would have maybe just been like, hey, it looks like you were going to the wrong place. I'm over here.
Yeah.
Like, and then the other fact is, after entering the restaurant again, they asked him, like, hey, have you seen the guy? And he like, no. I mean, I think my opinion would be a little bit different if the guy went to his girlfriend or something in secret and was like, actually, yeah, I did see that guy, but since he's treating her badly, I let him suffer for an hour. Maybe that would make me feel different, but
anyways, okay, so
comments.
So I have one that says, a year later? Slow learner? Just wondering, because that night would have been better. And then the OP response here is, my friend had a lot of issues. It took her a long time to realize she could do better than him.
Because some people in their first relationship might be like, oh, this is the best I'm ever gonna get, so I'm just gonna deal with all of the bad stuff. But no, anyone should be able to just end it and look for something power. Better.
Yes. Never be afraid to walk. But
yeah. This one says, petty but satisfying as, I'm not gonna say the F word, but satisfying as F. Just a shame that the girlfriend took so long to dump the a-hole.
I guess just like the last thing he said, sometimes if this is, assuming this is her first relationship, it's gonna take her a long time to finally wake up and be like, okay, I don't deserve this.
Not every, and this isn't even talking about just relationships, but anything, living conditions, even, right? Or just
even jobs, bad jobs.
Just every sort of thing exists under this type of umbrella. But the first one, you're going to maybe see some things that you don't jive with, but then you're going to be like, well, that's just probably normal though. So you'll just kind of try to suck it up. But overtime without getting paid, that's not normal, and you should walk. You should leave. Yeah. That type of thing, right?
It's
somebody giving you a black eye, the night after you hooked up with them. maybe walk. Just because you hooked up with somebody for the first time doesn't mean that is the person for you. The average person doesn't marry their high school sweetheart or doesn't go with the first person that they met, you know?
Yeah. But, like, yeah, if your job is bad, you can look for better ones. You don't have to stay there.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think we don't want to drag this out too long, so do you want to read now your story that you have?
Sure, I'll go next. My first pick right here is also from Petty Revenge.
Which I'm gonna find. Yep. What's it?
I will say don't click on it. Just let me read it, and then after I read through it for the first time, then click on it, so then you could look at fine details.
Okay, I'm just gonna...
Just listen right now. This one is called Don't Be Rude to Airport Staff, with an exclamation point at the end. By user Steel City Tiger Dance.
Steel City Tiger Dance.
Steel City is that Chicago? So it's like a Chicago cut, right? Isn't it
sure.
the Chicago Steelers?
I don't know. I have no idea.
That's Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh Steelers, right? So Steel City. So it's like the Tigers versus the Steelers.
I don't know. Who knows? But that's not. But anyway.
Sports. We don't know what they are.
So for any sports people watching, please comment down below. But
Steel City Steelers land? Okay, whatever. Don't be rude to airport staff. I posted this story on another site, but I felt like it would fit well in here. This happened during my time living in NSW, Australia. So probably New South Wales, Australia.
Probably.
We are not Australian, as you could surmise. But
yeah.
I'll just read this thing. If there is one true thing that I have learned about traveling, it is, do not annoy airport staff. They are the people who decide if you get to board or not. Being aggressive, rude, or confrontational to them will get you nowhere. I was at Sydney Airport traveling to see family in New Zealand, and they were going through the bag check. Whoops, never mind. In New Zealand, and was going through the bag check. In front of me, I could see an angry, red-faced businessman who seemed to be stressed and in a hurry. The security person, an Asian woman in her 40s, was checking his luggage, and the businessman immediately became abusive. He started yelling. I will not yell, but let's just... Why the hell are you looking at that? Get a bloody move on. Security 1. Sir, your luggage was selected for a hand check, so you just need to be patient. I have an international flight leaving in 10 minutes. Frickin' hurry up. God, I'm sick of this airport hiring these idiots. Security 2. Sir, you need to calm down. We are just doing our jobs. Instead of calming down, Mr. Businessman predictably became angrier and belligerent towards the staff, and, of course, started dropping the slurs. There's some things in this next paragraph I am definitely not saying, but businessman, I travel through this airport frequently, and it gets worse every time because you keep hiring these Asian slurs, and I'm sick of their dang incompetence. Learn to speak frickin' English. I have a flight leaving in 10 minutes. I don't have time for this crud. Just give me my bag and let me leave. Why is that so dang hard? Security now looked extremely fed up with this guy, but clearly they weren't done with him yet. I noticed that the staff member did her bag check slightly slower than normal. All the while, the man proceeded to throw a fit and tantrum and acted like a spoiled brat. At long last, he snatched his luggage away and began to stomp off, only to be stopped by a body search. Immediately, he blew his top again. When I left to walk to my gate, he was still raging, and I had very much doubt that he made his flight. The moral of the story, while traveling is stressful, it always helps to be patient with staff doing their jobs. Otherwise, you may not make your flight. I am still baffled about why he was causing so much trouble when he had so little time to make his flight. So that whole story.
My God.
I was kind of giggling in the middle of it, so
all I can say is, like, yeah, this goes to any business. Please don't be rude to people like that when they're trying to do their job.
Because at the end of the day, think of it this way. Do you want people to treat you the way that you might be treating this cashier or TSA agent or whatever May 4th, right?
Like, you want to treat people the way they treat. I don't know.
You want to be treated the way that, like,
treat people the way you want to be treated.
Exactly, right. You can't, like, just have that double standard of just, well, I could treat you badly, but you have to suck up to me. It's like, there's levels to this. There's, respectful, but you could also be kind of, like, I would say, you can be assertive in different situations, but, because you don't want people to walk over you, but at the same time, you can't expect everybody to kiss your boots, right? So you gotta be in the middle.
You're kind of, it's like you want to be assertive, but you also don't want to risk your job too.
But I'm just saying from the customer's point of view, right? Like you don't want to let the cashier or something say you owe me $100 when you know that you only owe $10, right? Like, just don't be a suck up like that. Be assertive and say, no, it's $10. You plugged it in wrong with an extra zero or something. Or, you know what, forget it, I'm not buying any of this, right? Like, you can walk away and be assertive that way. But at the same time, sometimes the cashier could make a mistake. And you just instantly blowing your top is not going to help much. In fact, it's probably going to make the cashier call a manager over and be like, hey, something's going on, which more or less makes you there longer. So just be chill when things happen, and when things super happen, then be assertive and, start blowing some stacks. But regardless, this is a story that actually wasn't in the author's perspective. The author wasn't doing anything petty. They were just talking about, the airport that did do something petty. Now, I travel a lot, relatively less since, the big C from 4, maybe 5 years ago at this point. But I do relatively travel enough to the point where I've gone through a few securities in my time, right? Sometimes they stop you because maybe you have something in your bag that looks suspicious, but sometimes it's just because you were person number 100, right? And to meet their quota, they're like, okay, we gotta stop XYZ amount of people. And it just happens. You just let them search your bag, let them swab it for any residue, for anything, and at most, you would also get maybe, questions like, oh, where are you going? What is your name? Like, what's your birthday or something? Is this business or pleasure? Things like that, right? But most of the time, it's just going to be a chill thing. It's like, we do this routinely. They know what they're doing. They've stopped dozens of people, right, before. They open their bags, look through it. It's annoying because sometimes you pack things up a specific way to where, now you have things scattered about, sure, but at the end of the day, it's quicker than just saying, oh, you're really gonna make me do this thing that's supposed to be there to make people more safe, technically? But no, dude was definitely uncalled for, and I was giggling because the airport staff was like, okay, now we're gonna do a body frisk, which made him stand there longer. I mean, definitely within their right. And by the way, they also have to frisk a certain amount of people too. You could just get stopped anytime because you might have something on your body or in your luggage that just seems either suspicious or it's just, like I said, you're person 100, right? And I guess in this case, it was because he was making a hissy fit about it. So they're like, let's do this security measure too.
Yeah. But, my God. Well, you get what you get, sir.
And he clearly got upset.
Ah, my God. Okay.
Phrase 2000 says, I don't understand people who are rude to service staff and expect them to do them favors. Think about if you were in their shoes, like we were saying that. Who would you be more willing to go out of your way for? The person who is abusing you or the person who is being more polite and respectful? And from experience, from phrase, the problems you experience are very rarely the fault of the person who's trying to help you. They just have to deal with the fallout, right? Like the cashier cannot control whether Subway, decides to honor a coupon anymore, right? It's not the cashier's fault that the coupon expired, right? Like,
yeah.
But they're the first person that the person sees, so of course they get the brunt of the, abuse.
Yep. It's like, yeah. And here's another comment from Sooner70. Who knows if this person, yeah. But I remember an anecdote from years ago. Dude getting irate during check-in. Lady at the counter is pleasant throughout. Dude finally leaves. Next customer comments that lady has a patience of job. Conversation goes something like ... It's easy to stay calm when I know something he doesn't. What's that? That man is going to New York. His luggage isn't.
Nice. And by the way, it's not Job, it's Job. But it's like a religious Bible type
I see.
Whatever. Yeah,
But,
you've heard of the expression "by Job," right? Like, yeah.
At least probably, but yeah. That's
lady at the counter has that
the patience. It's the patience of Job. Well, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool, but not cool. But I don't know, the situation's not cool.
Yeah, a deleted user says that comment sounds like a fake story. But it's definitely possible.
I mean, we don't know.
With all of Reddit, the thing that I always like to do, even though sometimes it could be fake, I always like to say it's real until proven fake. Right?
Yeah.
All of this actually happened. For the sake of argument, this all happened, right?
But it's like even
maybe none of our 4 stories actually happened. Maybe just 4 creative authors just wrote something. But for the sake of it, we're just
gonna go under the assumption it's real. Well, yeah. So I guess I have my one other story here, and this one is called Besting a Travel Insurer and this user is named Sniddle23. Not Skittle, Sniddle with an N, 23.
Hey, let me take a look at them sniddles, man.
Taste the rainbow, but get the revenge.
Yes, and
feel the revenge, taste the revenge.
Oh, feel my sniddles.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so this starts off in 2013. My dad passed away while my brother and I were on our own independent international adventure.
Damn.
Sorry for your loss, Sniddle.
Ripperoni.
But I was in Spain and my brother was in Canada, and we needed to get back to Australia. Another Australian thing. I see.
Blimey.
Yeah. My travel insurance was dodgy, but eventually paid out after a few complaints, which was pretty standard practice. My brother tried to claim $9,000, or $9K, whatever. He could only get one emergency seat on a bunch of connecting flights, and with that and his flight back after the funeral, etc., and other cancellations. It all added up. Shock horror! His claim was rejected. Back then, there wasn't an industry but body. Oh my god, I don't know how this person worded it, but it's like there wasn't an industry that dealt with travel insurance companies, or if there was, we had no idea what it was. So, my bro went through the usual hurdles involved with the appeals and complaints across. Eventually, they told him that his claim for $9,326 was rejected and their determination was final. So back then, companies didn't really have Twitter handles, so especially not insurance companies. So my bro, even the troll, created a Twitter handle in this insurance company's name. Complete with their official logo, he quickly set about gaining thousands of followers and legitimately began answering their questions with truthful, albeit quite negative, responses. Things like, "My daughter and I went to travel to Paris. What insurance cover would you recommend?" Answer was, "We would recommend you take the premium for our comprehensive cover and burn it. We don't like to pay out for any insurable event because it upsets our shareholders. Have fun in Paris," etc., etc. The insurance company got wind of this and sent him a cease and desist letter. My brother counter-offered with a contract for the company to purchase the Twitter account with 2,500 potential customers for the very reasonable price of $9,326. They agreed. Well then, that is quite a story.
So, you caught the numbers, right?
$9,326.
What about their numbers from before?
9,326.
Exactly. So, in order to pay off this, it's just hustle. They should just be signposted on r/hustle because they just hustle culture.
Damn, so they really got these guys. They got the insurance. Well, they showed them, but
nice. That's just nice. They told him that his claim was for 9326, right? And then 9326. So, in legal, just the practice of buying someone's Twitter account because, they got good traction. They got 2,000 followers or whatever. Possible people. They were answering honestly, so it's they probably don't even need to delete a lot of the posts at all. I mean, they really have something there, but that's just pro. I mean, that's exactly what it is. This one was from Pro Revenge, right?
Yeah. But
this isn't petty. This is professional, man. He hustled though.
Whether it was warranted or not, it's pro.
I mean, this is the same sort of energy as if you created a Twitter account for pretend they didn't already have one, but for Walt Disney, right? You just started doing things and then suddenly you got very popular because people thought you were the real one. And then Disney comes up to you and is like, "Hey, is there any way that we could buy your thing off of you?" And then you just answered, "Yeah. Free admission for life." Maybe it's not the same exact type of thing, but no, I think insurance is just a terrible system because we're getting to a point where it's required that you have car insurance and stuff like that. When you think about it, it's you're paying in case something happens. Since nice cameo. You're paying for something in case it happens, but because you're paying an arm and a leg, some people try to be a little bit more cautious. So they're not going to need that insurance that they inherently are paying an arm and a leg for. It's like an endless cycle there with that type of scenario. I can understand life insurance because you never know. You could get sick and stuff like that, but as long as you're being responsible and as long as you're keeping an eye out for the other drivers on the road. I wouldn't say that you need auto insurance, but you can't drive without it, or at least being insured, right? Car insurance is mandatory, at least in the United States. I don't know about the rest of the world, but like insurance policies, just to heck with them. They probably don't even care about that $9,000 amount, because they're probably gonna remake that by charging someone else up the wazoo in just 2 seconds, right? They can make that no problem.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Get Geico. But
that's right, everybody. We are sponsored today by the General.
Yep. Progressive. Call or click today. No, but
cat insurance.
But yeah. I guess we can read, 2 of these comments here. One person here by the name of Royal Renegade says, "This is fantastic. Have they shown any knowledge of who actually owned the Twitter account?" All right. This other person says, "Brilliant. Love it. Sad story about your dad, though." Rip.
Man, it's like we're just gonna leave it there.
I don't know what else to say.
Well, the reply from Sniddle themselves.
Sniddle says, "Not that I know of. It's definitely the same account now as the one my brother started. They even left a few of the non-trolling posts up because I guess it made them look funny."
Yeah, different shenanigans like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This one says, "Brilliant. Love it. Sad story about your dad. Rep. Happy ending for you guys, though. Too honest, a measly $15,000 would have been a nicer round sum." And then this deleted comment says, "I like that. It was for the exact amount of the claim. It really drives home the error of their ways. This could have been all avoided had you not denied my claim."
Virtual Choir Boy says, "Your brother got lucky. What he did has been against Twitter terms of service since 2009. Look up the Twitter and Tony La Russa incident. By 2013, all the insurance company would have had to do was complain to Twitter, and they would have yanked the account for free. So, it's a good thing that they weren't super Twitter savvy. Otherwise it would have been just yoinked for free."
Yeah. All right. I guess Sniddle here says, "Haha, yeah, I'm guessing they weren't super..." Yeah, he probably wasn't dealing with the top brass.
But no, yeah. It's definitely a funny story that definitely could have been avoided, I guess, on both ends, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
If they were like, "Hey, Twitter, we want that account," they don't work for us, right? Mm-hmm. They would have yoinked it for free, but like at the same time, it just might not have happened any other way. Whatever.
But that's cool. All right. So you've already said it. Oh wow, that was it, right? That was it. Actually, you have one more. To wrap things up, I think you have one more story here.
And one more I do, because this comes from Nuclear Revenge.
So not even just pro revenge, we're going nuclear here.
Oh, this is heavy. Someone's dropping the nukes. And it's potentially life-altering. It's not just, "Oh, it's just $9,000, or, oh, it's just 1 hour in Hong Kong street wandering around." No. It's nuclear.
It's so heavy that even Arnold Schwarzenegger couldn't lift it up.
It might end his entire career, right?
Maybe.
So this is in Nuclear by Throwaway 199311424. That's something that you'll see a lot of times on Reddit. Throwaway accounts, where they just make it just for the one story, or maybe a follow-up afterwards. So this person wants to stay anonymous. So We don't know who they are.
Well, and to their credit, I think that's fair.
This one, I definitely don't want you clicking in ahead of time. Like, definitely don't do it.
So you still, like last time, you still want me to wait till after?
Wait till after, exactly right. Yeah. Let's get my nuclear throat cleared. My new cleared throat. There you go. Okay. This is titled, Lady Wouldn't Vacate Private Parking Space. Good luck finding your licenseless car in another country. Police impound lot. So, I wanted to challenge myself and try to find something travel related in the nuclear subreddit. Technically, this one I don't know if it super counts as traveling, but I mean, it incorporates another country, so I'll just say it passes the test. But regardless, this is one that I'm doing anyway. I have lived in an apartment complex in Lisbon, Portugal. The where is important. For the last 4 years. If anyone's from here, you'll probably know that parking is hell. Fortunately, my building has a private garage. However, as is often the case, some parking places are more difficult to park in than others. I have one of the easier ones. Last year, I was offered a job abroad and took it. Thought it would be nice, parked my car at my parents' where they have plenty of space, and left a notice in the building elevator that went along the lines of, I'm the owner of 3B and will be away for at least 6 months. Feel free to use my parking spot. Ended up being away for longer, almost a year. Came back to see my parking spot occupied, which was okay since I offered it to be used. Put another notice in the elevator, this time to say I was back and would be using my parking spot again. Gave it 2 days and picked my car up from my parents. Went into my garage and my space was still being used. Had to park somewhere on the street and decided to give it another day. The day after, it was occupied again by the same car. Asked a couple neighbors and figured out it belonged to a lady living 2 stories above me. Went up to talk to her and she immediately got defensive and said that her parking spot is very difficult for her to park in. And since I was away for longer than I had announced, I lost the space. Which is a stupid logic, as these spots are bought with the apartment, it literally belongs to me. She also told me I couldn't use her parking space instead, as she was using it for storage. Okay, that's a double negative there, but okay, we'll get there later. Went to the building admin, who said he'd talked to her. He did, and came back shaking his head. Nothing. I sent a registered letter telling her to stop using my space, and giving her 48 hours to take her car elsewhere. The next day, I saw the unopened letter in the garbage bin beside the mailboxes. I ended up scouting my garage, waiting for her to leave, and would immediately park my car hoping she'd take the hint. She didn't, and we ended up doing this dance for a few weeks. Up until the day I came back to see my entire driver's side keyed. That was the final straw. I talked to a friend who owns a towing company. We chose a Saturday morning. The last few weeks she hadn't left home on Saturdays. I knew as I had been watching her car like a hawk, so I thought we'd have big chances of her not noticing anything until everything was done, and towed her car. The plan initially was to leave the car just down the road, but that felt too close and way too easy. Then I thought about leaving it in a city about 15 minutes away, but I still didn't feel quite right. My friend jokingly said, "Let's leave it in Madrid." For your information, Madrid is in Spain, about 600 kilometers or 375 miles away. I knew he was joking, but Madrid did feel right. I asked if he had enough time. He had, so off we went. Once we got to Madrid, we went out for lunch, strolled around the city, and waited until it got dark and the streets empty. In the meantime, we had already decided on where to leave the car. a handicapped parking space close to a police station, and so we did. As a bonus, my friend also took both license plates off of the car. Then we drove back home. It has been 2 weeks, and I haven't seen her car since. One of these days, I might leave a letter in her mailbox telling her to contact Madrid police. But in the meantime, I'll enjoy being able to use my parking whenever I want to.
Well, too bad.
So, not only was the double standard there of, well, you can't use my parking space either. We can't just do like a tradesies. Maybe I would think differently about this if they were able to, just trade it and be like, fine, sure, whatever. But they didn't do that. It was for storage. They tried everything that they could, which they were definitely fair. They said 6 months. They were gone a year. When they came back, they gave it like a few days to like be like, oh, maybe this is just, honest mistake. They were fine with like it being there past the 6-month mark because, they weren't there to stop it. They understood it. But it's just the song and dance of, okay, I'm back. Can I have my spot back? No. What's wrong with your spot? It's for my boxes. Can you move your boxes? No. You were gone for a year. So now it's mine. When in reality, it's not just the two of them living in that place. There's probably like 50 other people living there. So who's to say that the spot doesn't collectively belong to, other people? Why is it just yours, lady? Right? But at the same time, it is, a package deal. The right to have that spot was purchased with the rental of the apartment. So, it's, satisfying.
It's always interesting hearing, like, oh yeah, you want to play that kind of game, then I'm gonna move your car to somewhere else.
There's definitely stories, like, I could even name a few where things like this have happened, but not to that extreme. Like exactly where the original poster throwaway to Portugal, right? I think it was Portugal.
Portugal.
Yeah, Lisbon, Portugal. Let's just call them Portugal. Like the original poster, Portugal was initially like, oh, maybe just like down the road, or maybe just 15 minutes away. No, in a whole different country, man. It's go from Portugal to Spain, which is fun. It's funny. Of course, this is outside looking in, but at the same time, I would think the two of us have at least the decency of being like, oh, you're here now. Let me move my thing back to my spot and get that situated. And if it took a while, I'm sure that Mr. Portugal would have been fine with it. I'm sure like he would have been fine with like, oh, I was using my spot for like some storage. Can I have like an extra week so then I could situate it? They probably would have been fine with that. But of course, the entitlement of, I own both of them because you were gone longer. Something just tells me that the lady just didn't like the original poster, right? That lady just didn't like them and just found some reason to hold on to it. Be like, no, it's mine now.
I think at the end of the day, it's like, well, yeah, she got what she deserved, but at the same time, I'm only looking and knowing based on what the information is said.
This is obviously probably unnecessary to say, but every story has different sides.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're only looking at this from the perspective of the author and what they say. So we give benefit of the doubt and say that everything that they are saying is 100% the way that it goes, but who knows? Maybe there was a reason why that lady didn't want to give you the spot again. Maybe you actually, I don't know, hammered her parakeet into the ground, right? Like, you might have done that, but you left that out if you did, right? But For
Yeah.
what was offered, it was definitely a funny thing.
But
So,
I do think that. Got any comments that you wanna read out?
I mean, yeah, I could definitely find a few. Give me a moment while I reload it, because I already exited it and forgot about the comments. Pixie R says, you should have called the police about the keying. Because, you know what, that was the last straw that Portugal, had. Because I honestly forgot about that by the end of the story. Like, that is the straw that broke the camel's back. It was property damage, so you know what? We'll damage your property by moving it to Spain without the S. Personal experience from every panel on my car being keyed, they don't care. So, police apparently do not care about, things being keyed. Of course they don't. Remember, you can request them to fill out a report so you can report it to your insurance. Yep, paint jobs are probably going to be about 300, maybe 400. Maybe raise the rates about 15 to 20 a month. Did you want to pay the 500 deductible now, or, and that's in quotations. Someone else, Kookabanus, says, oh yes, this is awesome. Sydney saying, ooh, this is very nuclear and very satisfying. Never key a person's car. That alone makes it personal. Which, yes. If the property damage were having it towed to Spain would have went too far, D. Or, why am I calling you D? I should just say Tom.
Sure.
Like, do you think if the keying did not happen, do you think that was going too far?
It probably would have, but I don't know. I mean, that would have been a little bit of an overreaction, but I think, yeah, she pushed the guy too far by keying the car. So I think she got what she deserved.
Reaped what you sowed, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna read this one for obvious reasons. You'll be able to figure it out as soon as I do. But this is from user Emperor King Bob. Reaping the benefits of the new system. Thanks for the story. You know why.
Sure, we'll fill in the blanks.
Not sure about local laws there, but in the US, you could have towed her for the first night after you asked her to move, and been A-okay. By towed her, I mean through legal channels, not this. This, however, is so much better. So, a lot of people say that, you definitely have a great story here. Out of all of these, which is the one that you would have not wanted to happen to you the most?
Well, out of all the stories here?
Out of all of them having you being the brunt of the force, right? All of these revenge stories happening to you. Not by you. To you.
Which one gets me the most?
Which one do you think would be the worst for you?
Imagine, okay, I'm gonna start off by being like, well, imagine me being like, the airport, me being one of the people, like, at the security, and I'm just being yelled, like, slurs, just because...
That's not being on the airport people are the ones who did the revenge.
Yeah.
I'm saying you have the revenge on you. You're the receiver. Which means, if anything, in that story, you were the one saying slurs to somebody. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, God, yeah, if I was that...
If you're the receiver of these stories,
what
do you think is worse?
I think getting my car being brought to another country would be the worst thing for me. But I can't be mad at myself, because if I was the aggressor, and you know what, got my karma.
Yeah, got your car a long way from home.
Right.
I'd be prone to agree with that. I really think that one was kind of... there's a reason why it was nuclear instead of just petty or just pro. So.
And then a close second would be me, like, if I was left at, I guess, China or Hong Kong, I'd be like, well, I can't say I didn't deserve it.
Yeah, if you were, like, pretty much being a terrible guy to your potential significant other, and you go on a vacation, and then all you do is, like, you know, say, oh, you suck, you gave me the wrong directions, and then who knows what else happens behind the scenes out of that story. Like, but then again, it's just for an hour walking around the street. I don't know. That seems rather fine, but...
Yeah, right. Well, for anyone, I mean, comment down below what story is your favorite, and how would you feel if you were the aggressor, but then you gain revenge? How would you feel?
And you know what, let's top this off. Not that a lot of people do comment a lot of things. I mean, we definitely appreciate the ones who do. And whenever we say comment, don't take it like we're forcing you or anything, but if you are inclined, we genuinely would like to hear some of your revenge stories. I mean, hey, maybe they have to do with travel, maybe they don't, but it could definitely be like pretty fun to kind of just look at the comments and just like read what some of you have to say, right? Like, that'd be definitely interesting.
Yeah, tell us, like, if you want to, yeah, tell us your revenge story.
Yeah, I mean, hey, before we actually like wrap this up, and I'm genuinely just asking this, and this doesn't have to be cut out or whatever, but do you have any like revenge stories yourself? Because I'm kind of curious about that.
Do I have any revenge stories?
It could be mild, it could be petty, it could be pro, it could be life-ruining to the receiver.
I don't have any, like, right now on the top of my head, but I can most certainly think of. Maybe there's some few things, but...
I have a petty thing, like, right here. Like, off the top of my head. It's very petty. I don't think I have anything nuclear. Some could argue maybe I have, like, pro, but, like, rarely pro, if anything. But most of my revenge types of things would probably be petty. I'll give a summary, I guess. One time I was in somebody's Twitch stream. No, it's not our previous guest, Lou. And it's also not our previous guest, Skip. No, but, or I guess we should say previous editor, too, right?
Sure.
But
yeah.
It wasn't somebody that you've heard of, right? It was just somebody randomly who I was watching, like a Super Mario Maker 2, right? They just happened to be streaming it, and I clicked in because they had low view counts, and something that a lot of people playing that game do is viewer levels, where, you know, viewers can submit their own levels or what have you, and, you know, you can play them. I submitted mine to this streamer, and they played it, and they were like, oh, geez, that's so easy. And something about that was like, it kind of ignited something in me, but I didn't do anything yet with that. But we started like commenting back and forth, like just talking, you know, like we got into this story about like, yeah, so I actually like doing world records and stuff like that, right? Like just talking, just normally. And she was like, oh yeah, my levels are all hard. I bet you wouldn't be able to, you know, clear any of them. And what I did, this was petty. I don't know if it's revenge, but like, it's petty nonetheless. I went and played every single level of hers before she even cleared my level that I gave her next. And I got all of them world record. All of them are optimized to the best of my ability. So it will either be impossible or very hard for anybody to take them. So every single time she boots into the game, she'll see my face on every single level of hers.
Great.
Yeah, that's it's just
Um,
petty. It's petty revenge because she's like, "Oh, I bet you're not great," and then I showed her. I even beat her quote unquote hardest level in only 6 seconds when it took her 2 minutes. So it's just silly.
well, yeah. So, I mean, I can't really think of anything that's like too crazy, but if anything, like just maybe minor stuff,
Yeah,
revenge.
give a little summary of a
Mm.
minor thing.
Oh, I guess there's this mobile game that I just got back to playing after almost a year. I guess out of respect, I will not give anyone's names out, but
Or
I
you'll
guess,
bleep them out if you want to make it easier to retell it.
but oh my god, how do
Or
I
just
even
make up a
say it?
name. You can just make up a name if you want. It's
I'll
Bob,
just
right?
or
It's Bob.
Mrs. Bob, sure.
Sure.
I don't know. She, God. I mean, I
Do
want
you
to say,
think
I want to
Mrs.
say
Bob
PG.
is listening?
I just want to keep this as PG as possible because, like, I guess I was playing a game.
Oh,
There's a thing in the game you can message. I'm just not gonna.
okay.
Eventually, I just ended up like, I don't know how to even say it, and I did end up reporting this person.
Is that what?
No, I just
Is
didn't
that
want to.
That's not the end of the story, is it?
It's not the end, but it just pretty much became the same thing again, like a month later, to where I actually ended up legitimately reporting the person on the game and then blocking her on there. But that's more or less minor revenge than
See,
something nuclear.
see, I should come clean with something. I am Mrs. Bob. Dun dun dun.
Oh, okay. This is now the Dom podcast. No,
I think I remember you talking about. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is the game that you said you shared, our channel with somebody in?
it's the same game, but
It is that game, but probably a different person, right?
this is a different person, but it's like, yep,
Or
It's-
was it? Was it a different person?
Whoa!
It's
No.
just an alt account.
If it was just a bot, no,
Yeah.
but this was a different person, but, oh my god, but, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I can have fun with this person just to see what happens.
Honestly, what you should do is just set up an alt account yourself and just take it seriously and just waste their time, right?
But I'm definitely not one of those people to blast them because in that game too, you can post kind of like what you do with Instagram or Facebook.
Publicly, you could just say
expose
out in the world,
I
hey,
don't- I-
this is going on with this person.
I wasn't gonna be petty enough to do that, but I just simply reported the person. But then when I looked at the blocked account, apparently the account still exists. But at least I have the person blocked, so she can't see. She can't respond, can't reach out, so that's good. But yeah, those are kind of our revenge stories, and oh god. But
let's take a moment to remind you to revenge on them haters, and hopefully you don't get revenged upon.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I had a good time with this episode.
I had a terrible time with the research.
The second story I had took me over an hour, but I got something.
Yeah.
But
It's definitely a nice one. But I will say, we're not doing this one again, Miss Frizzle.
Oh, come on, Jake. You can do this again. No, but now we will not. Joking aside, we will not probably do this specific topic again, but yeah. We will probably, maybe, hey, who knows if it's going to be another year from now if we revisit Reddit.
Hey, I mean, if the same pattern continues, then sure, whatever. We're carrying on. Have a great one, everyone. Bye.
No, but thank you all for listening. Like we mentioned earlier, you can talk about your revenge story or not. But if you want to subscribe, you can. If not, that's fine too. We just appreciate you viewing our channel. But without further ado, I guess we're gonna head out.
Yeah, like I said,
All
bye.
right. Have a good day, everybody.